Be strong.
We're always surprised when it starts recording, even though we've actually pressed the recording button.
I know, I don't know why. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I don't know what tune that was, just made it up.
Thanks for that random piece of music that you played there. Happy New Year, everybody. We have had a little break from casting on the pod.
Casting on the pod.
Yes, we're having a few technical issues, so we're hoping that this is nice and seamlessly brilliant sound quality, because I've had to move around the house to try and get decent signal. I would imagine that broadband is like under immense pressure, isn't it?
Oh, it must be, yeah. We've updated ours to the super broadband.
Oh, at last.
Good. Super broadband. Yeah, it's still rubbish, but it's better than it was before, but yeah. It's not great, is it? You've got to think everybody's doing their schooling, everybody's working.
I wonder, so I needed to get the boiler fixed because I was thinking, God, it's getting really cold, and you know what'll happen, the boiler will go wrong, and I haven't had it serviced when I should have done. And they don't, you pay this money every month to have your boiler serviced, and they don't remind you need to book your bloody boiler in to be done. So anyway, I booked it.
That's no problem. Carry on.
13th of February.
Oh, well, winter will be done by then. You should have had it done before.
Well, bound to break down then, won't it?
Well, yeah, but that's why we're quite glad this lockdown, because in the first lockdown, our boiler did break down.
Oh, it did, didn't it? I remember.
Yeah, so we didn't have any hot.
But you had to
Whereas I am roasty toasty. Look at my cheeks; I'm all pink because I'm so hot.
You had to have a whole new boiler.
Oh yeah,
thing going on.
Yeah, it was not good. Not good at all.
Well, I'm hoping this is only 6 years old, so I'm hoping I don't need to have that happen.
Oh no, ours was old.
I had a very interesting. I do online delivery for my shopping.
Yeah,
which is a great thing.
Supermarket.
Say again.
Supermarket.
Yes.
Shopping. Yeah.
And I don't know where I'd been without online shopping for Christmas, I have to say. But normally they tell you what the substitutes are, and they print it off, and they tell you they don't do that anymore now. They email you. Well, the thing is, I don't read the email. I had some very bizarre substitutions today.
So
I thought, I didn't order a punnet of plums, because I don't eat plums, and I don't think they're a season.
There's nothing I can say to you.
So many
punnet of plums.
And I said, oh, what have they been substituted for? He said, the 2 oranges that you ordered.
So you had a punnet of plums instead of 2 oranges?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's a bit random.
And then...
Not Satsumas.
And then I said, I don't think I ordered 2 whole bags of brown onions. And he said, oh, they're replacement for a bunch of spring onions. I was like, what? 2 bags? So I was bemused at this point. And, I go through that thing because sometimes I have made mistakes where I've, instead of ordering a small bag of something, I've ordered a family 8-pack of something instead of one.
Oh, see, I do it the other way. When when I was doing online shopping, I haven't done it for a while, but I'd order juice, and I think I was getting a big juice bottle, and I did it with a travel pack.
So I think he was getting annoyed with me. He's like, well, you should just read the email. And I said, but I didn't have the email. And I checked there and then, didn't get the email. So then anyway, so substitutions, there's a very interesting. What is the weirdest substitution? I think a punnet of plums for 2 oranges.
Oh, I don't know. I think 2 bags of onions to replace a bunch of spring onions is pretty random.
So I'm just thinking they probably got somebody new on board, and they probably just thought, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll just put anything in. I'll put 2 bags of onions in. So we'll be having French onion soup over the weekend, I should imagine.
Oh, do you know how to make that? That'd be nice.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, lovely. Nice. Well, I probably won't have the filthy crouton with the cheese on the top with the New Year theme of healthy eating and stuff, which we'll probably go on to. So how was your kind of New Year experience?
It was nice. Just the 3 of us. It was nice.
Just the 3 of us.
Just the 3 of us. Yeah, and we stayed up from but played some games and drank some booze, and yeah,
Did
it was
you?
nice.
I didn't think there was going to be any fireworks, and there was fireworks in London, wasn't there?
There were fireworks, but they were scaled down. We didn't watch that. But also, the TV was a bit naff, though, isn't it? Considering everybody in the whole world was stuck at home. It was
There is only so many times I can watch the two Ronnies from 1972. To be fair,
I don't know. I do like that. The Phantom Raspberry Blower.
of old London town.
That is classic. You can't really knock it there, can you?
Well, we always used to watch it on Christmas Day. Oh my goodness! For our younger viewers, I do apologise. We are kind of going into a bit of nostalgia at the moment.
Morecambe and Wise. That was the other one.
I love the thing with Morecambe and Wise when they got the oranges.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And what's the woman's name? Angela Rippon, who dances.
Oh yes, when she flushes her legs.
Yes. Any other random things that you watched at New Year?
No, I think the telly is starting to suffer a little bit, don't you, from lockdown? I think the quality of the programming may have slipped slightly.
I tend to agree with you. So I was absolutely transfixed and watched every episode of Bridgerton, which is the new kind of costume drama that's been on Netflix.
I started that last night.
Oh, it's very racy in places, Zoe. I think you need to get a damp edition of the Radio Times at hand, just to keep yourself cool.
Yeah, carry on.
It's very good. I love a costume drama. Do you?
I like a costume drama. Yes, I do.
This has got
the race with it as well.
This has got oomph. I mean, it's like Pride and Prejudice on some really kind of big steroids.
on a Grays level.
So so I really like. So I think Netflix are churning out some really.
Yeah, Netflix seem to be doing quite well.
And on the flip side, I was watching Whitechapel from 2008 yesterday, which is a kind of crime drama. So I like the fact you can kind of delve in and find something that you've never watched before.
Yeah.
And then watch the whole series in 2 days.
I feel I've done all that now. I feel like I've delved and watched and but my contrast is that yesterday I saw it advertised. You know, when you see things advertised and you go, oh my goodness, I'm not going to watch that. What a load of old tosh. What are they? They're drakes. They're dragging up the bottom of the barrel now. What did I find myself watching for the hour? Oh yes. How to pet your pampered pooch's styling.
I think Pooch Perfect is the thing that we were both watching at the same time.
Oh, but the big fluffy, when they cut them like teddy bears, very cute, but you know.
But I mean, as the series goes on, I think there's going to be, they colour their hair, they make them into shapes, and I think, well,
I'm going to keep watching it.
Is that dog cruelty? I asked myself. I'm not really sure.
Do you even ask the dog's permission to colour its hair?
They just sit there whilst they're being,
I know, pampered,
made to look like a watermelon or something.
Oh,
bless.
Yes,
very cute dogs though.
Yeah, I do feel that's maybe stretching the whole TV format. But
I think they were
horses for courses. I watched the whole thing, so let's be honest.
I think they were Shih Tzus, and
you've got to be careful they say that.
Well, it gets worse because they had Shih Tzus on and they had poos on, as in cockapoo, cavapoo,
shitpoo.
Is that a dog? I suppose it could be.
This must be.
You wouldn't call it that, would you?
What would you call it? Shih Tzu?
A cockazoo.
No, that's a different type. That's a cockapoodle. That's a cockadoo. Oh,
cockadoo with a Shih Tzu. Anyway,
Shih Tzu and a poodle. Maybe it'd be a.
I bet listeners are really enjoying this. It's going to create fantastic.
Small wormhole of a dog TV there. Oh dear. Anyway, yes. So I just watching it.
It was. What would you give it out of 10? That program?
For compulsive watching, probably a 7, because I didn't seem to be able to turn it over.
I was thinking more about content and
about a 3 probably.
Like mental stimulation.
I like Sheridan though, so you know.
Well, she's Sheridan Smith is an amazing actress, singer.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Saw her in. Ooh, I'm trying to think what she.
I saw in Joseph alongside Jason Donovan.
There we go, folks. The Jason Donovan name droppers there. We've dropped. Drop the mic. There we go.
I went with my cousin Emma, so I just get that in. To went to see, see her there. She was the narrator. She was absolutely brilliant. To be fair.
Yes, she's a very good actress. I'm not sure whether presenting a dog parlour kind of grooming program is necessarily the height of her career. But anyway,
I think though,
bit of
to be
light
honest,
viewing.
I was going to say, actually, in current times, though, maybe it's perfect. Maybe that's what we needed.
Frankly, I'd rather watch that than watch the questions after the daily update about COVID.
Next slide, please.
Which makes me mad.
Yeah.
Oh, I can deal with next slide, please, because I'm always quite fascinated
like
by
his
facts and
slides, yeah.
figures. What I'm not fascinated by is the press. That's all I'm going to say.
The questions that they ask.
I'd love to be Prime Minister for a day and just say, sorry, but you can't ask that question, and please don't ask it again ever, and you're barred for life. Goodbye.
The whole of your network. Goodbye.
That is the end.
So anyway, we are in a lockdown again. Ooh,
we are. I
do
feel
you
a bit of deja vu, don't you? Because this whole
Yeah.
podcast started in lockdown.
I know.
Why are we calling
them.
it 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0?
Who knows? Because it's been
Why is
continuous.
it,
It's March.
why is it not just lockdown 3?
I don't know. I don't call it anything. I just call it lockdown. But we do probably at some point need to let people out of their homes. Let's not tell them that the lockdown's due to us wanting to do podcasts and making them stay at home and listen.
Shh, Joey, I told you, we're too honest telling people that we're doing it for our own benefit.
Seems a bit coincidental, I think.
I've had a couple of, joking aside, a couple of people that are starting podcasts, having, and asking us, Zoe, asking us for advice on how to start their podcast. How about that?
Oh, they obviously haven't listened to this.
They obviously haven't listened to it. But I thought that was quite nice. Really.
That's very nice. Yeah.
So we are in lockdown. As you would expect from us, we are the positive police. Me and Zoe.
Really?
It isn't always like that off air, but during this podcast, we are talking about. So, Zoe, what plans have you kind of thought through for the new year? Things that you're going to do?
So, well, rather than doing the whole New Year's resolution, which everybody does,
it's a waste of time.
Last 2 minutes, and the whole, I know I need to lose weight. Don't need actually to be January to tell me that. But what I'm going to do is, rather than trying to just go right all out, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I don't think with lockdown mentality that's going to work for me. So I'm going to do it week by week. So each week I'm going to change something different. So this week I have been concentrating mainly on drinking water, which, let me tell you, is not the most exciting part of my week, but I have done it this week. I've kept up to I've downloaded a free app which sends me a little reminder every couple of hours if I haven't uploaded it to say I've drunk something.
What is said app called, so that we can share?
Said app is called.
You've looked at it so much, it's right at the front of your head.
It is the front of my head. I can't remember. I'll find out what the name is. It's a picture of it drinking. It doesn't have its name on it. It just says drink. Water reminder, because it's very imaginatively named.
So I am a convert to hydration and water drinking.
Yeah, I know.
When I was really bad, because I would probably have 3 or 4 cups of coffee. I might have a glass of squash when I got home from work. And I regularly drink between 2 and 3 litres a day, which when you first start, you think, geez, I'm literally having loo breaks every 5 minutes. But your body does adjust to it. And I think the benefits for me are my mind is clearer. It takes away sometimes that fog of working at home. Yeah. And also it's very good for weight loss. So
it's good work. So when
it helps the body keep moving and getting
you wee out the baddies.
Getting rid of the toxins, I was going to say.
Well, I preferred my version. But I think whenever I've had recently, over the last couple of weeks, for the last month or so, I've known that I need to sort of up my water intake, because, as you say, I don't actually drink any water. It's only caffeine or decaffeinated drinks that I take on. But sleep, drink water. I had some ulcers on my tongue, drink water. What else? Weight loss, drink water. I found that my skin was starting to get a bit patchy, drink water.
Oh, it's so good for you.
So, and when I lost weight before, I did lose, when I started drinking water, I put on weight to start with and felt a bit bloated, but then it did shift quite a bit of weight in a chunk. So I'm going to do that again. That's my start. So I've started that this week. So I've just focused on doing that. And then I've cut down. So at lunchtime, when I'm having lunch, maybe I'm having 1 roll rather than 2 rolls. So I'm not doing anything dramatic. And then next week I will think about something else that I'm going to change. And I'm going to do it that way.
So just a factoid for you. You usually do these. I'm doing one. 60% of our body is made of water. So that's why it's so important to kind of keep us functioning, is by hydrating. the other bit is what you've just, I don't know why I've suddenly become some kind of health and fitness guru and think I know everything about it.
Because you do nothing but think about that.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing.
Well, that's change, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
that's
change.
good. Yeah.
Just changing something. I think when it gets to New Year, people are so obsessed with I'm gonna crash diet, or I'm gonna cut out carbs, or I'm gonna have a high protein diet, or I'm gonna go on the keto diet, or blah 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 blah.
I know, and there's so many different ones out there as well,
but it's soul destroying, because when you've had Christmas and booze and nice food, and you enjoy food, which we both, we enjoy food.
Yeah.
To suddenly cut all the things out that you love, it is a really, really
and
hard
also
thing to do.
People seem to have this misconception that actually everything good and yummy that you had bought in over Christmas, because everybody buys extra, plus lockdown, so you bought in extra food, suddenly all disappeared by New Year's Day. Not in my house. So that I'm doing it differently. So next week's, do you want to know what next week's thing is?
Yes, please do.
Next week's Joe Wicks is doing his PE thing. So I'm going to do Joe Wicks Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 o'clock for 20 minutes.
Very good. And the key to the stuff that you're doing, I think, and the bit that I've learned, is consistency. So therefore, if you don't try and achieve like a huge difference change, but you do little things, but you continue to do them. So this week you're going to up your water intake, which you'll continue. Next week you're going to do some regular exercise, which you'll continue. And then you can build on that when you feel ready to take yourself forward.
That's the plan anyway. That's the plan.
Very good. Very good.
There you go. Thanks very much. So what about you for New Year?
Well, obviously I'm going to continue. I've been a little bit off colour this week, which has been quite annoying. So I've wanted to really get out and continue with my running progress, but I've not been able to do that. So I've tried to get back on the healthy eating. I'm having pieces of Christmas cake. With somebody make us a nice Christmas cake and gave us, which is lush. So
which I've got big envy for. Christmas
it's lovely.
Cake.
It's really lovely. So I'm having a piece of that, a few times a week with a cup of tea in the afternoon. But I'm also doing my healthy planned eating.
Nice.
Because my view is I can't do 100% of the eating plan that I have to help build my strength and help my running all of the time. No. But talking to my PT instructor, 80% achievement of that is good. So therefore I can deviate from it from time to time. I have
also, when you're poorly, I think you need to sort of be kind to yourself.
You need to comfort yourself, don't you, really? I have cut out booze from the 1st of Jan. I've not had a drop since. That's quite a shock to the system.
We're also not together, so it doesn't need to happen.
So that I'm working on. And I think I'm just trying to be a bit more planful with my time, because I've got kind of 3 jobs on the go, probably all at the same time. Trying to plan time can be like really stressful, and I've missed things and forget things. So I'm trying to organize myself better using different. There's so many like tools available, aren't they, to help you? Online tools for things, and so I'm trying to make the most of those kind of things.
I think also that 2020 was a funny year for everybody, and for you had obviously your mum passing beginning of the year. It's coming up for 12 months. I think it's things like that, and being in the lockdown and all that type of thing. I think it's really made people stop, which is good. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's made people stop and reevaluate and think about, okay, well, what do I want to do going forward? Okay, all those things that I'd filled my time with, do I want to proceed with those? What bits am I really missing? So like, I really miss going to theatre and watching musicals. Not that I went very often, but I really miss the fact that I'm doing that. And this week I think with this lockdown, I've suddenly gone, God, just human contact. I really am starting to go, it would be nice to see.
Yeah, I get that. I think you and I have spent quite a lot of time talking about some of this stuff the last week since the new year. And I probably hadn't allowed myself to realise how much the anniversary of my mum's death, which is like the end of this month, had impacted me leading up to Christmas. And I'd kind of was saying, oh yeah, like I'm going to be fine.
I'm fine.
It's all going to be fine. And actually it was leading up to Christmas Day, I found really hard, because it kind of just hit me that, I wouldn't see her and all that sort of stuff. And I know for a lot of people that go through loss, Christmas is a really difficult time. But actually, when I got to Christmas Day, I'd kind of gone through that, and it kind of seemed a little bit easier. But I think if you have gone through that process, is allowing yourself to feel that it is okay to be sad and to not be okay and to be tearful, and you know, you've got to look after yourself and be kind, because I think it's harder than we appreciate. And if you've never experienced it, you won't know until you get there. And everybody else's grief is different to the next person.
Yeah.
I think the bit that I found probably the most challenging is that everybody stopped talking about my mum,
Yeah.
apart from me and and my brother, and other members of the family to a lesser degree. But everybody seems to stop talking about the person,
Yeah.
and not necessarily because to them it doesn't mean the same, does it?
No,
It isn't.
it's not their
It's not their grief, and it's not their
No.
relationship. So that's something I've been mindful, is not being angry about the fact that, well, why has everybody else forgotten about it? Why is it only me? Well, of course it is me, because it's my grief, and that's the way that I've kind of tried to get my head around that one.
Yeah. And I think also, with 2020, I think the fact that we've gone into another lockdown, don't you think? I think that's starting to affect people in
hugely.
Yeah, I think people are sort of, but I do think that people wanted it to happen. I think there was too much uncertainty with the tier system and all that type of thing. My opinion, topical, but I do think that people would rather just have it clear, right? Lockdown, that's it.
I agree.
Then we're going to come out of it. Perfect.
But I think there's a lot of people feel quite down and negative, and I think January is that type of month anyway.
Yeah.
And then we go into another lockdown. I'm kind of trying to look on the view of, we've got vaccines, they're coming. We've already immunized 1.5 million people in this country, which is more than anybody else in Europe put together. I think sometimes we are always expecting more and more and more, and we're not actually looking at, we would never have got a vaccine this quickly in a country that wasn't as developed and as fortunate as we are. So I try to think of, I can see the end in sight. And yes, it's hard, and we've got to dig in and get through it, but we are going to get there, and it is going to get better. But I do appreciate it's not always easy to think that way, is it?
No, that's it. Well, I've got top tips.
Oh, tedious top tips, did you say?
Tedious.
Or were you saying I was being tedious?
No, I was meaning about my top tips. So I thought, New Year.
Yes.
Lots of people working at home, which hopefully most people have got into the rhythm of now. And also homeschooling. Whoop, whoop.
Woohoo.
Massive kudos to all the parents that are having to do homeschooling. But I've just got a few top tips that you can either choose to listen to, discard, or get cross with me for. It's up to you.
Sounds like it's time for a jingle.
Right. Okay, so top tip number 1 is to maintain regular hours. So whether it's schooling or work, set yourself. So it's all about, I think my top tip is having a routine. So when you go to work, when you're going to school, children are used to that system of routine, but also working, you're used to getting up, going out to work, coming back from work, and it being very separate. And when it's in the one building, then it's harder to be separate. So maintaining those hours. So if you're doing schooling, well, actually they'd normally be school 9 to 3, you'd be at work 9 to 5, then make sure that at that time, half an hour before the end of that time, is you're starting to think about, okay, winding down.
I remember packing your bag, when looking at the clock, thinking, when's the bell going to go?
Yes, put your pencil case away.
And the teacher going, what are you doing? Put your bag away, ball.
You've still got more time. I think the morning routine is important, sort of. So either decide whether or not you're going to have breakfast, not have breakfast, where you're going to be for breakfast. So whether or not you're going to sit and watch a bit of telly, bit of news in the morning with your bowl of breakfast, and just not talk to anybody, which is some people's thing.
Is that your thing, so?
It's not mine. It's my husband's. He doesn't like to talk. He's brilliant, but he doesn't particularly need to talk to anybody in the mornings. He just wants to get on with it. Was I need to have a bowl of breakfast, sit down.
I love the way you say a bowl of breakfast.
A bowl of breakfast.
Because that could be anything. I'm thinking.
I know. Do you know why I say
bacon, eggs, and sausages in a bowl.
Do you know why I say bowl of breakfast? But I actually have toast, so I don't know why I'm saying a bowl of breakfast. But whether or not you're going to sit down as a family all together and have breakfast, so it's setting the day up and having that conversation time. Whatever works for you, and I think that's the key, is finding what fits for you. But it's sort of getting yourself into that routine, saying, okay, well, we're going to have lunch, we're going to stop for lunch at 1 o'clock, so we're all going to sit down, we're all going to stop at 1 o'clock and sit down and have lunch together if you're in a family, or having coffee breaks together. And I think with schooling and with work, I think businesses get more productivity out of you when you're working from home. Absolutely. In theory, but there's 2 processes. So when they're at school, kids normally would do 7 40-minute sets of studying. And in work, we're quite often encouraged to do 20 minutes with a 5-minute break. So it's whichever works for you. So if you're doing 40 minutes with your kids, that's that might go quite quickly, or it might feel like it's dragging forever. Just see what works for you and your working system and family stuff. But you reward yourself with that break time. So if you're doing 20 minutes working, you then can have 5 minutes looking at Instagram or whatever you want to do,
or having a piece of Christmas cake,
or having a piece of Christmas cake, or having a wee. But
I think we've talked a lot about we today. I don't think
I'm drinking a lot of water. That's why.
Not enough.
No, but yeah. So that's what I would say. Is they're two systems. The second one's actually got a proper name. I can't remember what the proper name is. But the 20 minutes with a 5-minute break during the day, it means that you take a step away. And actually, if you're really engrossed in a piece of work and you think, oh, I'm not going to bother having the break.
Is it the Pomodoro technique?
That's it, Pomodoro technique. Get you.
That's why I've got my little tomato timer. Pomodoro is Spanish for tomato. Tomato
and that's where
timer.
It came from.
That's right.
Yeah. So the idea being that even if you're really engrossed in a piece of work, still have that 5-minute break, because it'll refresh your brain. It gives you time to reset, look at it with fresh eyes. I know sometimes when I'm looking at something, I can read it how I think I've written it. And if I don't move myself away from it and then look at it again, I don't see the spelling mistakes, or I don't see, I have word checks, so I don't have spelling mistakes, but the grammar, or I've missed a word out.
Yeah.
So yes, that's my top tip for those. And then, so breaks, routine, and be positive, and don't be too hard on yourself is my other one.
I think,
especially with the people with the schooling, I know that,
I agree. I hear people who've got children at home which I don't, because mine are older now, and they don't live with me, but people really stressed about, I've got to. And I was talking to a friend this week, and he said his wife had gone to place of work, and he was kind of at home doing the homeschooling. But actually, he said to his daughter at the beginning of the day, "Do you know what you need to get on with?" And they kind of just checked in, but he didn't spend any more time other than saying, "How's it going? Are you okay?" And his wife came home and said, "Oh, she's been really productive today. What have you been doing to make it?" And he said, "Really been doing a lot." So I think
it's with the little kids. I think that's where it's very stressful. But I think you've got
also
to think, how much actual learning time do they do in that time? A lot of it's play. So actually, maybe you could let them play with bricks and sort of throw in counting, or throw in just be kind to yourself. Like, you are not a teacher.
Things, they're having to weigh things and
measuring.
That's it. So there are things that they will do that are domestic learning things. I'm not saying you should just say that all your domestic chores need to be done by your children, and that's good enough. But
I mean, that's a plan.
But also, you don't want to create that anxiety for your children, I don't think.
No, I don't.
What are we doing? When are we doing? Oh, now we're doing this. Oh, now we need to do English. Now we need to do maths.
And I know that they've got Zoom calls and things like that to do. But actually, if you've got 2 kids and they've got 2 Zoom calls at the same time, probably the one that's older, making an assumption, is the ones who needs to have their Zoom lesson, and maybe let the other kids sit in on their Zoom lesson.
Well, and also for some families, I know there was an appeal on Spotlight last night about devices, because not all families can afford for every child in their house and them to have a device.
Absolutely not.
So you might need to stagger times anyway, and them doing different things, but also getting outside and getting some exercise. Watching Joe Wicks that you were talking about earlier, that discipline of doing exercise is really good for them. So I think I think people just got to be kind to themselves. The expectation is there to do the work, but do you know what? If it takes all day and you don't do it between 9 and 3, as long as that's what you've set up as a routine for yourselves, then just be kind to yourself. Give yourselves a break. And I feel there's a bit of a theme of be kind to yourself.
Be kind. I don't like people being mean to themselves when actually you're doing the best. As long as you're doing the best you can for you and your kids, that's all that matters.
Very wise words from Mrs. Hall.
Yeah, end of that was sort of tedious.
Here endeth the lesson.
I know, sorry, did lecture.
No, you didn't. I thought it's really good, and I think really valid. I think sometimes and also at the end of the day is give yourself time to do something for yourself. And that isn't be on social media. It might be go and have a bath, or go and read a book, or just I sometimes just like to go into my room, lower the lights, put a candle on, put some nice music on, and just kind of breathe.
Yeah.
Lot to be said for that, even if it's for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Miraculous.
I was very lucky for Christmas. I was given by Freya. I was given a wax melt.
Oh,
Which
nice.
is really nice. It's hangy basket with a candle underneath. That's really nice. Just sit and just have a look at that and smell, sense. Your senses are being stimulated. And then Sebastian also gave me a, when you were like at school and you were trying to be the cool kid, you had the incense sticks.
I was never cool.
You were never. No, neither was I. tried. This is as close as I got. Was this? But anyway, so he's bought me incense cones and a stand, and you put the cone on top, you set the fire to it, and then the smoke comes out. But then the smoke comes down like a waterfall.
It's lush. That is.
Oh, it's really So that's nice to look at.
Will you put a picture of that on Facebook?
Yes,
I really like that. It's very cute.
Yeah. So so that's good.
So, well, I think. Do you know what? We're at half an hour already. Can you believe it?
Blimey.
We've had so much fun. So
I just wanted to say that going forward, we think we're probably going to have guests on once a month, don't we?
We do.
So just so that we'll do our normal waffle for for most of the time, but then we're going to have topics. So if there's any topics that people want us to discuss when it's just you and I, or if there's any more topical topics that they would like us to discuss.
you call it something different every time.
I know.
Typically topical top tips.
I'd like those as well. But what I mean is like if
there's any typically topical top tips.
So we are going to have at some point somebody on to talk about fitness and health and running. So we're going to do that, and yes, we've got a couple of guests lined up, haven't we?
Oh, we've got lots to share, haven't we?
Lots to share.
Well, thanks, Zoe. I always look forward to my Friday with you.
And me with you.
Because it always, although we do kind of talk a lot during the week, actually it's quite nice to chew the fat properly. And this like really forces that, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's good.
So I hope you've enjoyed. It's been nice to speak.
To chat.
Be kind to yourselves.
Yeah, be kind.
And we'll see you very soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.